It was a busy Friday night at Harper's Grill, and the air shimmered with laughter, jazz, and the faint scent of seared steak and perfume. From where I stood by the service station, the whole restaurant glowed. Golden light over polished tables, couples clinking glasses, the hum of conversation blending with the soft notes of a saxophone. I've been on my feet for 9 hours, my smile long past the point of sincerity, but I kept it anyway. You learn to. When you've got student loans, rent due, and a father's medical bills waiting in your inbox, you wear that smile like armor. My name's Lily Bennett, 24, journalism graduate turned waitress. I once dreamed of breaking stories. Now, I just break bread baskets and pray the tips are kind. I was refilling a glass of Chardonnay when a voice cut through the jazz like glass shattering. "Excuse me, do you even know how to serve wine?" Her tone turned heads. Table 9, 4 people dressed like a magazine cover. And at the center sat Madeline Price. Perfect hair, perfect diamonds, and a stare sharp enough to slice marble. "I asked for Chablis," she said, waving her manicured hand. "Not whatever cheap thing you poured me." My throat tightened, but I kept my voice even. "Apologies, ma'am. I'll fix that right away." She tilted her head, smiling the way people do when they've already decided you're beneath them. Unbelievable. They'll hire anyone these days. Laughter rippled through her table. I turned, face burning, heart steadying itself behind that practiced smile. But something about that night, the way the lights flickered, the tension under the jazz, made me feel like the universe was holding its breath, as if something was about to shift. After that first sting, I thought maybe she'd calm down. Some people just need to feel superior once, and then they move on. But I was wrong. Madeline Price wasn't here for dinner. She was here for sport. It started small. The bread's cold. The butter's too hard. The salad looks wet. Each complaint delivered with that smile, the kind that says I dare you to argue. I kept apologizing, fixing, enduring. My notepad shook a little, but my voice didn't. Harper's Grill trained us to stay calm under fire. But nothing prepares you for malice, served with a manicure. Then came the lighting. She snapped her fingers at me. "Tell your manager I don't dine under interrogation lamps." I blinked. "Ma'am, the lighting is automatic. It adjusts to—" "Of course," she cut me off. "The waitress knows everything, doesn't she?" Her friends laughed, low and cruel. I felt the heat rising in my neck. Every sound in the restaurant, the silverware, the jazz, the whispers, seemed to press in on me, tighter and tighter. And then it happened. I was pouring water when a few drops splashed near her designer purse. Barely a few drops, but she shot up like I'd thrown acid. "You clumsy girl. Do you have any idea what this bag costs?" Heads turned. Conversations froze. I tried to stay calm. "Ma'am, I can clean it right away. It's—" "Don't touch me," she snapped, stepping back dramatically. "You'll never work here again." The words hit harder than I expected. I stood there, cold inside, as her voice echoed across the room. I could feel everyone's eyes, the pity, the judgment, the curiosity. From the corner, my manager, Paul, hurried over. His face was pale, the way it always got when money and morality collided. "Mrs. Price, I'm sure it was just an accident." "Accident? Fire her. Right now." Paul stammered. My chest tightened. I wanted to disappear, to melt into the floor with the spilled water. And then, through the tense silence, a voice came from the back. "Calm, deep, steady. That won't be necessary." The kitchen doors swung open, and the room changed. The kitchen doors swung open with a soft whoosh, and for a moment, even the jazz seemed to stop breathing. He stepped out slowly, sleeves rolled to the elbows, clipboard in hand, a smudge of flour on his forearm. The kind of man who didn't need to raise his voice to be heard. Everyone went silent. Even Madeline. "Who are you?" she demanded, crossing her arms like a queen who'd just been interrupted. He didn't flinch. "Michael Harris," he said simply. "I own this place." I swear, I heard the collective inhale of the entire dining room. Madeline blinked, thrown off balance for the first time all night. You own it. He nodded once. That's right. I like to see how people behave when they think no one important is watching. Her posture shifted, almost imperceptibly, a flicker of uncertainty breaking through the diamond-hard exterior. Michael turned to me. His eyes were calm, searching. Are you all right, Lily? My name. He knew my name. I nodded, my voice caught somewhere in my throat. He looked back at Madeline. His tone stayed polite, but his words were edged with something sharper than anger. Principal, you've insulted my staff, humiliated a young woman, and disrupted every guest here. That's not the kind of behavior we tolerate in my restaurant. Madeline's jaw dropped. You can't talk to me like that. Do you know who my husband is? Michael gave a faint smile, quiet but dangerous. Yes, he's one of my business partners, and I'll be having a word with him about tonight. Gasps rippled through the room like a sudden breeze. Her confidence cracked. You'll regret this, she spat. My husband could buy this entire restaurant twice over. Michael stepped closer, voice calm, every word deliberate. Maybe, but funny thing about money, he paused, looking her straight in the eye. It can buy you dinner, but not dignity. You've had too much of one and none of the other. The silence that followed was electric. Even the waiters had stopped moving. Every guest just watched, waiting to see what would happen next. Madeline's lips trembled, but no words came out. For the first time that night, she looked small. Madeline clutched her purse to her chest, color draining from her face. The silence in Harper's Grill was thick enough to taste. All eyes were on her, and on Michael, standing calm and unshaken. She started for the door, heels striking the tile like angry punctuation marks. I thought that was the end of it, that she'd storm out, call her husband, maybe demand revenge later. But then Michael's voice followed her, smooth and deliberate. Oh, and Mrs. Price. She froze mid-stride, her hand still on the door handle. Slowly, she turned back. Before you go, you might want to check your credit card balance. Her expression twisted. What did you just say? Michael lifted the clipboard slightly, a faint smile on his lips. You used the same card at one of our hotels in Palm Springs last month. The charges were flagged for suspicious spending. You didn't just dine and dash, Mrs. Price. You maxed that card out on handbags and champagne. The account's been frozen since Tuesday. A collective gasp rippled through the dining room. Forks stilled. Even the kitchen went quiet behind us. Madeline blinked rapidly, her composure unraveling. That's impossible. There must be some mistake. Michael's voice dropped lower, quieter, the kind of quiet that carried more weight than a shout. We all make mistakes, he said, but some of us own them. Others try to make waitresses pay for them. For a second, she looked like she might speak, maybe apologize, maybe lash out again. But instead, she turned and fled through the door. The sound of it slamming echoed through the restaurant like thunder after a storm. And just like that, the spell broke. Whispers spread through the room, disbelieving, embarrassed, even apologetic. Someone at a nearby table started clapping, slow at first, then joined by another and another, until the whole restaurant filled with applause. I just stood there, motionless. The adrenaline in my veins was finally catching up to my body. I didn't know whether to laugh, cry, or hide in the pantry. Michael looked at me again, his voice soft now. Take 5, Lily. You've earned it. I managed a small nod, still too stunned to speak. But as I turned to step away, he added, Actually, before you go, you're not just a waitress anymore. I froze. Sir, he smiled, eyes warm this time. You handled yourself with grace when others would have lost their temper. That's leadership. As of tonight, you're our new front-end coordinator. You'll oversee guest relations and train others how to deal with people like her. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. Wait, seriously? Seriously, he said. This place doesn't run on fear or money, Lily. It runs on dignity. You reminded everyone of that. Tears burned at the corners of my eyes. I tried to blink them away, but one slipped down anyway. Thank you, I whispered. Don't thank me, he said. You did the hard part. I just stepped out from the back. The applause eventually faded, replaced by the soft hum of conversation and jazz resuming in the background. But something had shifted in the air, the kind of stillness that follows a storm when people see the world a little clearer. As I stood there, heart still pounding, a few guests smiled at me. Real smiles this time, not the polite kind. One woman mouthed, "Good job." Another man gave a small nod of respect. I'd spent months serving those same tables, invisible behind smile. Now, for the first time, I felt seen. I slipped outside for a breath of air. The night was warm, the marina glowing under rows of soft yellow lights. Waves lapped gently against the docks, and somewhere in the distance, a saxophone still played. For a moment, I just stood there and let it all sink in. The humiliation, the justice, the quiet dignity that somehow won out. I thought about all the nights I'd come home too tired to eat, all the times I'd swallowed my pride for a paycheck, and then about how one act of cruelty, one spilled drop of water, somehow turned into the night everything changed. When I finally started walking home, my reflection followed me in the dark water below the boardwalk. Same face, same tired eyes, but something different in the way I held my head. Because that night, I learned something I'll never forget. Respect isn't given by titles or money. It's earned in the quiet moments, when you choose grace over rage and kindness over pride. Sometimes, the universe doesn't need to shout to show you who's watching. Sometimes it just opens the kitchen door,